the kickoff.
Fabulous occasion, Gordon. What a sensational crowd. The scene set. The Lions must win. That's what we've got to keep in mind.
It's a magnificent atmosphere. It ended last week when the crowd in Sydney sung the national anthem after the game, something I've never ever seen before. And again, the crowd at Ballymore rose to the occasion to get right behind this Australian team.
And there's a slight delay here as we're missing a corner post down at the far end of the ground. That's been rectified. So the arbiter is Monsieur René Ourquet, a 48-year-old headmaster from Avignon in the south of France and regarded as his country's #1 referee. He controlled that stupendous match between the Barbarians and the Grand Slam Wallabies in '84. So the Mitre 10 international between Australia and the British Lions, the second test of the series underway, and Australia sending the ball into in goal, and the first touch for the halfback Robert Jones. Number 14 is Ian Evans. No doubt Rob Andrew will be taking the drop out. So just as we saw in the first test, the ball from the opening kickoff deep and play resuming with the drop out. Cutler took it cleanly. Long cut out to Walker. Here comes the fullback Martin. Early attack from Australia. Maguire. What a start here by the Australians. Campese.
Well, you can see the two tactics there of both sides. Australia wanting to run the ball wide, take it down the flanks. The Lions trying to intimidate from the first moment of play.
Great thrust by Australia that time. They've been a little bit questionable from the 22-metre kickouts and dropouts. But that time we're able to plunge immediately into attack, and that's where they'll want to play the game out wide.
Bill Campbell jumping at number 2 for Australia. Good jump by number 4 though, Ackford. And Finley Calder round on the wrong side there, but the referee has spotted something here. And I think Steve Kleinman being spoken to. The referee says we're going to have a penalty.
It's going to be a physical contest here at Ballymore this afternoon. It's starting early. This is only the tentative stuff. The lineouts were what they'd call a dockyard brawl in Sydney last week. Good work here by the Lions. They tidied up that ball through Richards, protecting it desperately, trying to prevent those Australian arms from getting in at the ball.
So the referee spotting a goal jumper offside, and a fine relieving kick, Gary Pearce from Gavin Hastings. But there's a real feel about this test match.
Certainly is. The Lions early on in the tour were very good at sweeping in the line-out, and we saw there they closed most of the gaps off, except leaving one. Australia got caught.
Cutler does it well. Bar Jones clears to Liner. Rifling the ball across field. Is it too far? No. He did it last week, landing at centimetres inside the touchline, and he's done it again here this afternoon.
Here Australia again playing down into the 22. Here the forwards will be looking for that extra 10-20% effort. Exert that pressure on the Lions.
Good, Gary, that time Steve Cutler coming very much forward into that line-out. That's the difference between this week and last week. Very explosive for the ball. I thought good start.
Miller and Calder at the back. Teague and Tynan second from the back. But Ackford going high again. So he's done well in the first two line-outs. The big police inspector from the precinct of Clapham in London.
Superb drive there by the Lions. First two lineouts of the match, they've really driven through the middle. I think they're very committed this time.
Great jump this by Ackford. Look at him, explosive. Look at the height that he gains there. A little bit of support at the top of his jump by David Sull and Richards. He'll play a key role today doing that all the time. He's done it on the first two lineouts, and look how well he presents the ball.
Well, there's a long pass from Bar Jones, not well directed. Maguire straightens up and beats the first tackle. Australia still hasn't found the advantage line. There was a hand in the ruck there, but the referee says we'll have a knock on. Well, René Ourquet has a reputation in France as one of those people who has a laissez-faire attitude in the lineouts. I'm sure the British Lions are aware of that fact.
Interesting first scrum of the match here. Both front rows sizing each other up for this first impact.
This is still going to set the stage. The first 10 minutes, this scrum will tell a bit of a tale.
Well, a punch up there between halfback Robert Jones and Nick Farr-Jones. They're all joining in now. It's punches galore. It's an all-in brawl, the match erupting, and that was totally unnecessary. It was a harmless altercation between the halfbacks, and everyone joined in.
Well, that's the stage that's been set here. The Lions can't go home with a big L against their name here. And you haven't seen that before. Two halfbacks into a dockyard brawl right at the side of the scrum. Such is the tension.
See some jostling here. Jones puts the left hand right under the chin of Farr-Jones as they go down. Other Lions and Australian players looking for any excuse.
The referee right down in the melee, down in the middle here. Look at him. He goes over, there's no one watching. He's gathered up in the melee.
So the referee, Rene Ourquet, has spoken to Mr. Keith Lawrence. And it's a penalty to Australia. Well, you have to put Mr. Rene Ourquet on delay to interpret his decision, but the end result has pleased the local crowd. I thought he was going to give a free kick at one stage there to the Lions, then a scrum, and finally the arm went up for Australia.
I think a fairly clear decision. Robert Jones jostling with Farr-Jones at the entrance to the tunnel, and that sort of brought the retaliation from Farr-Jones that we saw finish up in an all-in.
Now the referee is going to speak to both skippers here. Finlay Calder, the 31-year-old grain merchant, and Nick Farr-Jones, the 27-year-old legal man. And Ourquet is telling both sides to settle things down. Let's concentrate on the football. But as we've said, it's do or die here for the Lions this afternoon. So Liner, who really broke their back last week with his 14 points, .46 metres out. And it's swinging out to the left. It looked to be on target, but then the ball hooked away. So an early opportunity goes begging for the Australians. Rob Andrew, the Cambridge Blue in cricket and rugby, with a nice drop out. And the Lions forwards getting some good possession in the early stages, just holding things.
Great work there by Scott Goulet, waiting attached at the back, ready to pounce. The ball was freed from that maul. Straight on, that's the pressure required.
Scrum very low on this side. David Young and Mark Harthill.
Coming!
Good scrum for Australia, disrupting. Jones is in trouble.
It was a great scrum. You saw Mark Harthill down, driving very low. David Young on this side takes his opposition low, but Harthill with lots of thrust behind him, really putting that pressure on.
And there, Young dropping his shoulder. The scrum collapsed, and the referee coming round to check proceedings.
He's supposed to bind on this side, David Young, with his right arm up on the jersey.
Referee telling the Lions to go back. Coming close to the 90 degrees. The referee says it's gone past 90 and will reset it. So a very good wrestle, Chris, in the early stages of the scrimmage.
Great pressure there by Australia, Gordon. This is the sort of pressure that takes ages to build up. And Australia are really working this front row of the Lions over, really making them concentrate.
Andrew now taking play outside the 22, but not gaining the ground he would have liked.
Australia continues to put the pressure on here. Superb three scrums there, where Australian front row had really put it over the top of that Lions pack.
Goulet's moved to the back opposed to Dean Richards. And this time it's Wade Dooley. And Jones met solidly. But again, the Lions control. That's Mike Teague. Back to Richards. Miller, number 7. Young sends it back to Jones, and now it's Andrew. That's a better strike by Andrew.
Good work under pressure by the Lions that time. They were able to just settle, work the ball at their pace and clear to Andrew for the kick that they've been looking for from him most of the game.
Neutral touch judges this afternoon. This is Keith Lawrence, who was in charge of the first test from the Bay of Plenty, and Mark Thompson from Auckland. Richards does well against Goulet. Teague. They're over the advantage line. That's the play they missed last week. Jones burrows in. Andrew now kicking for Hastings. Behind the Australian backs, Williams with his return to Test football. Making sure of his touch.
Andrews kicked superbly down into the 22 there, but all really set up by tremendous drive by the Lions back row, with a pack coming in behind over the top. That's when they looked dangerous. That's where they looked an unbeatable team before the first test, getting over that advantage line.
It's been an excellent start here by the Lions pack. Although they've had a bit of bother in the scrums, they're winning some clean possession. And there, Ackford again at the front. Hooker Moore stopped in his tracks. The ball spewing back. Andrew on the half volley, drop goal. Nice strike, just wide. Chalmers missed an early one last week.
Well, now the boot on the other foot. The Lions deep in the Wallabies territory, using that plunge at the front of the line-out that's become their trademark.
Low trajectory from Liner. Andrew having plenty to do in the early stages. Halfway line. Martin calls. The big man from the University of Queensland. Not paid the mark. Bar Jones, end over end. And the bounce obliging too. 5 from halfway. No score. And Bar Jones looking a bit like the boxer who's been through 5 torrid rounds. Blood streaming from his mouth. A legacy, no doubt, of that altercation with Robert Jones. First blood to the Welshman. So the Lions have been
barging across the line.
He's given a free kick by the look of it, Chris. So
yes, well, it couldn't be. It must be in the formation. The difference between the bent arm and the straight arm penalties. One is in the formation of the line out. The other's in what results after the ball comes into the line out.
Liner really sending the ball deep, and now Hastings with a chance to return. And the Lions forwards pretty happy with that one. It's kept in play, and this is Martin. And Martin replies with a boomer back up towards halfway. And the Australian coach, Bob Dwyer, in buoyant mood last week, but absorbed with the action so far. And also a man who's done so much to assist the Australian team in the background, Chris, John Connolly, the Queensland coach.
Yes, he has, and a bit of deja vu there against the Lions for Queensland. Liner not hitting the touches as he should. Hopefully this isn't setting a pattern.
Caldler goes down on the loose ball. Jones is crunched by Goulet. Well, Scott Goulet making his mark on the game early, as he did for New South Wales and in the first test. Punishing tackler. Jones runs. Andrew, Campisi and Martin. And a cheerio to the Australian Rugby League team, which is watching this telecast in that beautiful southern city of Christchurch. And we saw one of their colleagues, Gene Miles, at the game here today, Chris.
They sure were, and of course Paul Vorton and Dominic Maguire, 2 redheads, both from Padua College here in Brisbane, both internationals. What a great feat.
Well done by Ackford. This is Teague, away from Campbell's tackle. Referee says play on. The ball was out. No offside, he says.
I think by the end of this match, Robert Jones is going to be a bit tired of Scott Goulet's tackles coming through on him, because it's the matter of 1 minute he's hit him twice and driven him back metres.
Roger Utley in pensive mood, but there certainly is encouragement for the Lions coaching men. Ian McGeechan on his left-hand side. And a studied Gareth Chilcott in the background.
They love playing with their backs to the wall, the Lions, and they certainly are that today.
Big grunt as the two packs come together. Yayan Evans comes through. Martin calls. Up he goes. He couldn't take it. Cutler's there. And Steve Cutler's offside. Coming off Martin's hand. Cutler in front of his teammate. And now a chance for the Lions to post first points.
Well, a very good kick there. It was a good platform by the Lions. And it was very good the way that the back row came around, protected. As we can see here, the ball's been put up. Australian players come around to protect Martin, but the ball goes forward and Steve Cutler goes down on the ball, thus offside.
I think it came down from Martin off Richard's shoulder though, Gary, but Steve Cutler, Bill Campbell emerging from the ruck, simply played the ball and paid the penalty.
Gavin Hastings, 27 metres out, and that's not a good attempt from him. It was a very nervous stab at the ball. No fluency about that stroke.
Right. Terrible kick.
He looked uncomfortable last week at the Sydney Football Stadium. The moving a bit freer today, but that kick certainly wobbly.
The Lions are controlling most of this set play here and also the tight stuff. Get their tight fives, just getting over the top of Australia.
Knocked back by Tyneman. Harthill still in play. They've done well, Australia. Far Jones darting. It's a pretty reasonable kick. Oh! Amazing.
That is class. You see there the back row of the Lions came around on top of Far Jones and he just ducked in behind them and banged that ball. I'm not even sure if he even saw the line. He just felt that was there and he landed a metre with a touch.
Mark Harthill at the front of the line out for Australia, sporting a bloodied nose. Brian Moore throws in. Far Jones to Liner. Gary Owen coming down near the crossbar. It's a beauty. Hastings lost ahead. Chance here for Australia, but no one wanted to pick it up. Now Liner. Here's a chance. Numbers. Martin, the line in front. He has to score. Well, Greg Martin's done it again. 2 tries in his first 2 test matches, and Australia posts first points.
Well, the whole theory here is keep it simple. The ball comes wide to Liner, who really puts snow on this ball. As it goes up, he's got his entire back line coming through on the ball. The Lions not really know who wants it. Great pressure by Australia. The ball goes loose. For a while there, 3 or 4 Australian players didn't know who to pick it up, but Far Jones intelligently moves the ball very wide to Liner again, and Martin looming down the left flank. And he just puts his ears back and over for a tremendous try.
What a superb pass this. Firstly, the kick from Liner went on the absolute spot. Then this double cutout out here. Martin's plunging for the line and over.
And I'm not sure who it was who slipped that ball back to Far Jones. I have a sneaking suspicion it was Dan Crowley, another man who made his debut last week. But Far Jones and Liner really sizing up the situation so well. And the Lions caught short. This one is sitting just centimetres in from the touchline. Beautiful kick. Never in doubt. Spectacular. And that is 400 points for Michael Liner in Test match football. The first man to pass 400 points in official Test matches.
The whole key to this was the kick put in by Liner that put the pressure on the Lions and drew them all into the middle. Martin saw the gap out wide and was just the man to take advantage of it.
telling blow landed by the Australians came after about 18 minutes. Australia see it. Touch judge has spotted something on the far side. It's Mark Thompson over there.
Had the flag out immediately on that far side. There was some stomping.
Yes, I think the big police inspector, Paul Ackford, is being called out, as you say, Chris, for stomping. Ackford, who has some 20 constables and 3 sergeants under his care in Clapham. That's Wade Dooley, his teammate. And there's Paul Ackford. Use of the boot, says the touch judge, and Australia to relieve.
It's quite unfortunate the Lions have to really stoop to this, because prior to the first test, they were a superb team in the way they controlled the play.
Hastings. Outside his 22, pushing it down the centre. Martin, Campese, and Far Jones. Here goes Campo. Looking for open space. Hastings gets the bounce. Campo through hard. 35 metres out from the Lions goal line. And what a proud moment for this man, Chris Handy, Lee Donnellan. 13 seasons with ACT and called onto the Australian reserves bench here today.
I played against Lee and he's a great prop. Should have made it long before now.
Pushing in the line out against the Lions. Second man in the red line out, the referee saying. So a free kick here. Free kick, not a penalty goal. And Liner could well have a shot at drop goal. Here he goes. Pushing it out to the right. No worries with the distance.
Lions back row very keen to get up on Liner there. Again, the pressure's still on the Lions. They're stuck in their 22. Australia continuing to build and build that, mount that pressure against them. Waiting for that crack to occur around the ruck or ball, or a penalty given away.
Dooley and Ackford doing well. Goulet with the big hit. Forcing the error. Jones away to Underwood. Nowhere to go. This is Teague. Oh, that's a great thrust there from Michael Teague. That's the sort of inspiration they need now, the British Lions.
Love those back rowers having an impact in the game. Goulet, Richards, Teague. Teague played sensationally here against Queensland. Look at the big Wade Dooley getting in for that ball up high. There, Goulet makes the challenge to Moore. He was up to the task, and then the Lions continued on.
So the free kick goes the other way, and there's another minor scuffle. Jones comes in again. David Soul was on the ground, but that was harmless. Dan Crowley on the far side, number 3. Timon has blood pouring from his eyebrow.
I think there's more policemen on the field than there is in the crowd.
3 policemen in the Lions pack. Richards, Ackford and Dooley. So Andrews, who just has that edge and experience over the younger Chalmers, with a very good kick taking play just outside the 22.
The Lions yet really to use their centre combination, relying more on the driving of their back row. With this inclusion of Teague in the team, has really been able to give us some good opportunities around the ruck and maul.
Ackford again. Richards drives straight through the middle of the line out. Still going. Perfect setup here. Andrew, Hastings, Miller the tackler. It was a beauty. Have actually been sent backwards there, the Lions. But that man Richards is there again. Jones now to Andrew. Guscott. Yayan Evans and Campese. Campese with the front running. And the referee playing advantage. I think he spotted some offside here. Penalty for the Lions. And a chance to reduce the leeway.
Well, it was good advantage refereeing by Mr. Urukai. There was offside at the back of that maul. Players up in front of the last feet. He let the play roll. He gave the Lions the opportunity and then brought it back for the advantage of the penalty kick.
What's interesting is there the Lions had good ball. They had plenty of room to run with it. But again, they were all over the place in midfield. The only option they did at the end was the soft option of the kick over the top.
Well, we saw Scott Hastings bungle Gary that first good ball, and then Guscott seemed as though he had no option or no idea what to do with it out wide other than to push it ahead into space.
So now it's the 27-year-old chartered surveyor, captain of London Scottish, Gavin Hastings. 18 caps for Scotland, 231 test points. Looking for this three-pointer 25 minutes into the first half. That's more like it, Hastings. The Lions are on the scoreboard. They badly needed that one. 3 points the difference. So that will certainly settle a few British Lions' nerves. The pack has applied a lot of pressure. Liner curling that one. Andrew on his chest. Does it well. Kick slightly off the side, 25 metres out.
I can't understate the effect that Dean Richards has had on the Lions pack today. He's been in everything, particularly the sweeping from the line out.
Liner to Walker. Here comes Williams, and so too Martin. Good aggressive defence, though, from Scott Hastings. Australia looking for the more ball here. They hold their ground. The Lions trying to roll it. And Dean Richards has been penalised there for not allowing the ball to come out. The referee pointing at him, but he's also pointing at David Young. David Young, the first infringement, Mr. Richards, the second.
Superb jump there in the middle. The ball goes wide. Australia looking to extend them out wide. Lloyd Walker cuts the ball across. Very good quick hands. Martin comes around, but always looking for support there. Big Far Jones in there, pushing the ball back.
So Liner now with the chance to nullify that last successful kick by Gavin Hastings. 402 test points under his belt. Only 25 years of age. His kicking skills surfaced at Musgrave Hill when he was playing soccer in the under-9s. Some Lion supporters behind the posts trying to distract the Australian kicking ace. 28 minutes gone. No bother for Liner. Australia back out to 6. So Australia just with that comfort zone, 6-point advantage, and just staying out of reach of the Lions at the moment. Repeating, there's no breeze here whatsoever now. Campbell falls. Australia having trouble at those kickoffs. And this is a tremendous surge from the Lions pack. Wade Dooley. Way it goes to Jones. There's something on here if they can get it out. Jones slips it. Called it to Jones. Andrew straightens. He's still holding on. Now it's Calder again to Teague. Teague, the danger man here at the back. There he is, number 6. Rolling it with soul. It's only 15 metres out. Good line here on the left. Hastings. Guscott, he's very quick. Williams there first. And the referee ruling there that it's going to be a 22. The ball was kicked over. And Bill Campbell down on the ground having treatment.
It was good work here by the Lions. This was on. The Australian defence was flat. Crowley was inside. Williams was committed to come up wide and really had to struggle to force the ball.
It's unfortunate there. Bill Campbell actually was hurt in the play prior to that, and the ruck then came back over the top of him, which really didn't help him. It was pretty tough. He wouldn't be laying down there for too long if he wasn't hurt badly.
Yes, a sense of deja vu here because Campbell played with damaged ribs in the Queensland game.
And Liner bleeding from the eye, so a few scars on show. There, Far Jones, showing that there's been a battle on out there.
Well, the doctor's being called here, I think. But there could be a stitch or two required for Bill Campbell, who specialises in laser surgery. And he looks to be in no man's land at the moment, Chris.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest worry. I think it's a head. He was shaking his head there a little while ago. He's getting a big questioning from Greg Craig, the physiotherapist.
Well, he's out of the game at the moment, and Wade Dooley is right in the thick of things. Jones to Andrews. This is big. Gavin Hastings, the fullback. Miller intercepts. Australia drive in. Good ruck ball for Calder. Andrew Grubbers. Williams in front. He goes in, Williams. The fastest man on the field. And a sensible option. Midway 22 and halfway.
Superb wing play there by Ian Williams. You could see the Lions running at him. The little chip kick that came through. He got back fast and cleaned up for Australia.
But isn't it a shame that the only option that they have is pushing the ball forward on the boot? I'd like to see that ball go wide, the cutout passes used, and then the support back inside. I'd have thought it would have been the option.
The Lions pack are much more hungry this afternoon. Ackford's done very well in the line-out. Tyneman, a loose ball. This is Lloyd Walker. Now it's Campese. And he's unleashed a boomer. Prodigious kick from Campese. Almost down to the 22.
Well, that'll bring some adrenaline to the Australian forwards. They've been fighting down in this half for the last 5 or 6 minutes. And now Campo, with a long pass out wide, has been able to get them onto the advantage again.
Well, a breeze has started to pick up now, favouring the Lions at the moment, but it's going to be in Australia's favour for the second half. Well, again, Paul Ackford doing well at the front. Andrew Hastings at Scott. Over Campese's head. Campese and Martin. Charge down. Ian Williams back to save the day. Williams in trouble. And a 5-metre scrum. No, Australia plays on. Campese has looked for the far touchline and taken it back to the 22. What's happening here? The whistle has gone.
I think the referee's coming back to play a knock forward short of the line by Ian Williams. There was a struggle for the ball. He was well positioned, the referee. Now the pressure right on the goal jerseys.
Well, as we come into the last 10 minutes of the first half, these are the championship minutes of the game. It's really where one team starts to get on top of the other. Lions poised here to get the first try.
So a great chance here for the British Lions. They scored only 1 try here against Queensland. That was from the halfback Jones. No tries in the first test. Good scrum ball. Andrew, drop. He struck it well. Great little pot there by Rob Andrew. He kicked 2 field goals in his international debut against Romania at Twickenham in '85. And he's posted 3 here for the Lions. 3 very vital ones.
This Lions pack is uncompromising. They really want a great scrum there to give tremendous platform for Rob Andrews to pop that ball over. As this game goes on, the Lions pack is really starting to take control. And it's quite important the Australian team gets back to basics and tries to drive through the middle, put them on the ground.
Australia being obliterated. Oh, there's a bad mistake between the Welshmen, Jones and Evans. And the referee says it came off his chest. Well, that's an amazing decision.
That'd be the first time you'd see that in international or any rugby. The movement forward, if it touched arms at any stage, be they above the elbows or whatever, he simply said it was a rebound. Not so.
Cutler to Far Jones. Richards picks up the crumbs. And Andrew, harassed by Goulet, and Evans now. Evans, who's played a bit of fullback. Indeed, he was a replacement fullback, I think, up in Cairns. has found touch.
Critical decision that from the referee. A scrum in that territory would have been try time for Australia.
Australia here playing a shorter line out, giving Cutler and Campbell the time to move, or the room to move.
Well, some rucking of the man there by the Lions. Tommy Lawton didn't like it.
It was definitely the kicking. It wasn't rucking. Keith Lawrence, the referee on this side, has his flag out and he saw it. This is straight out kicking by the Lions pack. Nothing different. Now there's a difference between a rucking backward motion, but they were kicked. And this is shocking stuff. When you go to ground on a rugby field, it is a rucking motion that's fine. And Tommy Lawton reacted violently to that straightforward kicking by the Lions.
The culprit has been found, and David Young has been called out.
Just watch the feet on the ground on this side. You'll see it rather clearly, and the culprit, I think, is David Young on this side. Watch the boots coming in. There it'll be, number 3, bang, straight in at the head. Tommy Lawton reacting to it, coming in up into the ribs of David Young.
The game doesn't really need this. It's the two tremendous, the Lions representing a number of countries and Australia out there to show the skills of the game. Cheap shots like that doesn't help anybody.
Well, I've never seen so many bloodied mouths and eyebrows in an Australian team. It's been an ill-tempered first half, a fiery first half.
It's sure a battle, Gordon. That's no doubt about that. And the hard-fought bumps and knocks that you get in the general play is one thing. But a straightforward kick, that's something else.
I believe David Young is fortunately still on the field. The referee had been on this side and seen that. I doubt if he'd still be running around.
He's certainly on a caution. One more indiscretion, and he'll have his marching orders. So Liner just missing with that long-range penalty goal. He must have kicked scores and scores of penalties from this position on his home turf. Through? No, just what's happening here? The touch judges say no. It's missed on the left. The Lions still breathe. 9 points to 6, Australia's way. 4 minutes before half-time. Campbell didn't take it. Now he's put the pressure on his teammates. Jones, loose pass. Andrew Loops. Yayan Evanson Campese. Greg Martin on the full, half volley. He did well. Delivers it back for Far Jones and Campese. Well, I wonder why he kicked. Dean Richards. And Campbell. Good tackle by Campbell. Now it's Ackford and Calder. A wave of gold jerseys arriving. And finally Jones outside his 22. Martin, Scott Hastings through. Good tackle. Referee says use of the knee. Use of the knee, Scott Hastings in the tackle. It was a very good hit. So good, in fact, that the Australian fullback is almost out cold.
Greg Martin goes up for the ball. I don't think there's a vicious up with the knee. He simply drove in up on that left-hand side. No intent. Referee very acute to any of the physical play going on at the moment.
A long kick, a raking kick, 8 metres out. And Australia, 2 minutes before half-time, a chance to score further points. Plenty of support coming from the crowd. Campbell at 2.
Australia needing here to find every little hole in this line out to get through on the deflected ball. Imperative that the pressure picks up for this last 2 minutes.
Richards and Jones.
Played a wonderful game in the sweeping role. Richards taking the ball up, tidying it up. It's been the difference between the two packs just at the moment.
Australia playing a shorter line out, giving the room for the tall men to get hold of it.
Far Jones straightens. He wants the support. Crowley's there, so is Goulet. Here it comes. Liner, kicking for Williams. Williams and Underwood. And Rory got there first. Quick thinking there by Liner.
Two great wingers on this far side, both in a desperate race for the ball. Came free for Australia. They were disorganised. Liner fumbled and then shot the ball right into the attack.
It's very close now to the goal line. Australia driving forward. And they'll get the scrum feed.
Certainly the last scrum of the match. This is where Nick Farr-Jones and Campbell will be calling on their players to really put their best scrum of the game in.
The Lions here will be trying to wheel the Australian scrum towards that sideline, the touchline you can see on the other side, thus throwing the ball across the far side and throwing their back row support off.
Nick Farr-Jones just telling the referee to stop his clock. Only seconds remaining before half-time.
Poor Nick having to use charades there to get the communication across. I'm not sure if his French is that good.
David Soul, who actually came on as a breakaway against ACT on Tuesday. Number 11 there is Rory Underwood. But David Soul, who had a couple of seasons in the West Country with Bath, really putting the polish on his enormous talent. Liner, loopy pass. They've gone for the high ball. This is dangerous. Guscott has it. The Lions should hold on here until the half-time break. Only one try to Australia in the first half to Greg Martin. And Robert Jones with the kick, taking play well outside the 22. Well, the Australian forwards have been outplayed in this first half. Rucks and Mauls 12-3 to the Lions. Line-outs 9-8 to the Lions. Good work by Dooley, and Teague up the short side. Bear hug tackle from Big Steve Cutler.
Australia not tidying up the ball that they're winning in the line-outs. Richards and also Ackford are really going desperately. As soon as that ball comes down, they're just thrusting their bodies over it on the ground and winning it for their team.
Liner, he got a loose pass and he stepped around Andrew. He's gone straight through. Pass was loose to Williams. Underwood toes ahead. It's only Steve Tyman there, and he saved the day. Oh, great play there by the big number 8. Now it's Williams. Australia drive in. Hastings is there. And this is Mike Teague. Great surge from him. Jones couldn't pick up. Good ball here for the Lions. No one out here in the backs. This is Guscott, and his only option is to kick, and he's done it too hard. Well, we must be nearly at half-time. The referee blows it up. And at the break, Australia 9, leading the British Lions 6 in a torrid contest here at Ballymore. Greg Martin, the try after 18 minutes, converted by Michael Liner, who also kicked a penalty goal. And for the Lions, Gavin Hastings in the 25th minute, a penalty, and a field goal in the 33rd by Rob Andrew. Statistics in the first half, Rucks and Mauls 13-4 in favour of the British Lions. Lineouts 9 apiece, and the penalties also favouring Australia this time by 7-4. So there's the Australian camp, and just comparing the two forward packs, Chris, to last week in this, the Lions really have a sense of urgency. They're very hungry for the ball this afternoon. Australia perhaps just a little loose and not quite with that fever pitch they had last week.
That's the word, urgency, Gordon. Urgency and commitment. The Lions are desperate to win this. They haven't got it in the backs. I think the forwards know the backs haven't got the ability to win the game, and they're going about doing it themselves. I think that's the feel. They're creating play and trying to use it themselves.
Well, let's look at the only try of the match so far. It came from the big fullback, Greg Martin, playing in his second test match. And there you see Goulet hanging off the ball, and Dan Crowley goes in to pick it up and delivers to Farr-Jones.
Beautiful play, good sweeping work by Dan Crowley to help this. But look at that cutout pass from Liner. This picked up Martin, who was running straight. He didn't have much room in which to move. Great try.
It was quite an amazing try. This, you can see how Michael Liner has put the ball high. An incredible commitment by all the Australian players coming through here. So committed they are to get to the point that the ball's actually bounced in behind them. And each of them don't really know who to pick it up. But Crowley, front rower, gets in there and spins the ball back. Ball goes wide. Again, the man who made it at the beginning, Michael Liner. And Australia, match plan was to play the ball wide, and that's where the tries are.
Well, it's been a very good effort by the Lions in the first half. They trail by 3 at half-time. But a point to be made, we have 5 of the England pack in the Lions forward 8 this afternoon. And remember, England really put the cleaners through Australia at Twickenham last November. And those Englishmen really making their presence felt this afternoon, Chris.
They sure are. They're the ones that have frightened the Wallabies before. They're doing it in the only way they know how, and that's hard up front. Richards, Ackford and others, Teague, are doing it very well.
Gary Pearce, how have you seen the first half?
Well, the Lions have been totally uncompromising and ruthless in their pursuit of the ball. Australians have to take hold of that ruthlessness and control themselves and still stick to their match plan of spinning the ball wide. And they'll have to do this in the second half.
So players now moving back to their positions, and that was a fairly short break. I think we've only had 3 minutes. But Finley Calder says, let's get on with it, sir. And Australia holding a 3-point lead, but they certainly have to lift a couple of notches up front in the second half. Nick Farr-Jones just checking to see that his teeth are still intact.
I think Australia have been distracted by this physical contest, Gordon. They expected it, but expecting it and getting it are two different things. Maybe they've now had the chance to settle and to get down to really the basics.
Yes, well, the Australian backs have seen precious little possession. They've been on a starvation diet. And the second half underway. And again, the Lions have it. Set up by Hooker Moore. Andrew now gets around Goulet. It's a good high ball coming down on the 22. Williams going in. Knocked back by the Lions. Australia in trouble here. Second rower, Wade Dooley, 6'8", 17.5 stone. Andrew now, field goal. And he's hooked it. Golden opportunity there for Rob Andrew.
Superb opportunity created by the forwards. You can see the drive and the commitment of their forwards, driving that ball infield closer to those posts. Andrew had the perfect setup. The right foot ball hooking around and pulled it away left.
You can see the Lions really want this match. That first drive by their forwards there, they're really pushing hard together to get hold of that loose ball and make ground.
Well, that kick by Andrew's gone too deep. Campese. He's not finding touch. 10 from halfway. The Australians are all onside once the player runs 5 metres. Gavin Hastings' kick, a good one. And the mark is paid for Greg Martin.
Well, there's a man who's done everything asked of him today. He's gathered the ball coming forward on the ground on the run. Here he's done it high in the air and he's put the ball out on the full. Something the other kickers have failed to do.
David Soul arriving near impact. Very mobile for a front rower. And Greg Martin, who's a self-professed nomadic handyman, as he calls it, almost a professional student.
Lions here looking for their first short line out of the match.
Wade Dooley, loosely. And pushing against Steve Timon, it looks like, in the line out. So Hastings now, 45 metres out, has a chance to level the scores. Yes, looking back over a test series, Chris, in the 80s, particularly against New Zealand, I think without exception, it's always been decided in the third test. In other words, the series has been open. The other side has come back in the second.
I think it's something we've come of age in our rugby, Gordon, but not that much of age that we can really pull down the shutters and close in for the kill on the one that we really need to put the series out of reach. The All Blacks have that great ability to do it. The Lions have had that ability, but Australia haven't yet sort of got that, I don't know, that maturity. But we might see it today.
so Gavin Hastings, the kick that can bring the two teams together on the scoreboard. Missing on the left. Liner's running it out, and Williams is outside. Ian Williams. He's beaten one tackle, he's still going, and he's away. Jones counters. Miller the tackler. And wasn't that superb play there from Liner and Williams?
Exciting play by Australia there, really starting to try to pick the pace of the game up. Up until now, the Lions have been controlling this game and wanting to slow it up, when to fasten it. At times there was more being controlled by the Lions, but Australia must pick the pace up.
Williams, who's lost nearly a stone from last season, but he's blue for track at Oxford University, saw him run 10.8 for the 100 metres. Hard hill at the front. He lost a head. The referee didn't spot it. Liner. Straight up the touchline. What a kick. Magical control from the cultured right boot of Michael Liner.
That is one of the most difficult kicks in the game of rugby. The right-footed kick over the top of the packs in front of you to roll into touch. Perfected superbly by Michael Liner. Must have practiced it a million times, but there it was in a test match at Ballymore. Lions performing really well in the line-out.
Ackford at the front, and Richards. They drive in with Moore. An 8-metre sweep. Lawton comes in on Teague. And the referee awarding the penalty here to the Lions. And making sure that the players disentangle without incident.
I don't think Mr. Urquhart could see that that ball had come free and was being played off the ground on this side, but it's a good decision from that side.
Gavin Hastings, a single-figure golfer, and his great sporting ambition is to play in a British Open.
Again, that last line out, that surge being put together by Richards coming around. Australia must look at the gap that Richards leaves open and send somebody through and put him on the deck while he's behind his forwards.
Bill Campbell unopposed. That's Wade Dooley trying to wrench him to ground. And Australia have lost the ball, something they didn't do last week. Taking it in and surrendering. Quick line out to Liner. Quick thinking there from Far Jones. Australia set up quickly. Here it comes. Lloyd Walker. Cut out now for Martin. Campisi's outside. Campisi, Hastings and Evans there. The Lions defence across very quickly. And Australia not picking the ball up here. Now it's Goulet. Back over the 22. And the referee playing advantage there, I think. And he's going to have a scrum here. Australia's... No, it's gone the other way, the Lions' feed.
This is the great continuity that Australia's been looking for. Gary Pearce said they must pick up the pace of the game, and they've done it here, whisking the ball wide. They know he's the danger man, the Lions, that man Campisi, and they were quick to collar him.
Yes, definite knock on there by Australia. And Jones's kick gaining only 5 metres.
It's important Australia plays shorter line-outs here, tries to disrupt that 8 men for the Lions. When they start to spread out, there's the holes where Michael Liner and Nick Farr-Jones can duck through and get the power of the back row to run onto it.
Richards on the loose ball. His work rate is absolutely sensational for a big man.
Giving Australia a toweling in the line-outs, even on their own ball in. They're not being able to win it or win it cleanly.
Campisi, field goal attempt from 53 metres out. Not quite going through. And now Hastings with a short touch finder 35 metres out from his goal line. Well, Lloyd Graham can kick them from 55 metres out, but not David Campisi.
Well, he's done it, and he did it here against the Lions playing for Queensland in 1971. 55 metres, but that certainly would have brought the ground to light, that one from David Campisi, had it have gone over.
Tommy Lawton throwing in his 40th international for Australia. Liner. Walker comes hard over the advantage line. Good set up here for the Australians. Bar Jones slipped over. Lawton in quickly. Now what's the referee doing there? He's ruled that the players went to ground, and so Australia has the scrum feed. He's ruling that the players collapsed. Australia spending a lot of time down near the Lions 22 in this second half. Michael Liner to Maguire to Liner. Pass knocked on there. Ian Williams not holding on. The Lions read that one well too, forced the error. Referee playing advantage.
Great defence by the Lions. It was the cut to Maguire with the double loop of Liner and Williams from this blind wing. It was a good move, but it just failed to come off right at the last minute. Good defence by the Lions.
The problem was Australia was running across field too much, and when Williams came across from his blind side wing, he ran at the same angle everybody else was running at. He needs to change the angle and the pace of the game to make that burst through.
Referee ruling the ball was out. And Hastings taking play to within 7 metres of the halfway line.
To date, the Lions have had problems with the ball that's gone to their backs. I think it's because of Rob Andrew. He's a very good counter-attacker and he likes to back up, so thus he tends to run across field and follow the ball that he passes. Thus he gets the rest of his centres running across field, thus making him less effective in making the advantage line.
See how Australia go on the line out.
5-man line out, that one. Liner, this time too far. I suppose he proves he's human after all.
Australia's second phase play hasn't been that good today. They've lost the ball a number of times when they've gone in. They need to consolidate that play, come back, get the confidence of their blockers and Ripper in there, and start to control that second phase game.
I think because they haven't been getting that first phase ball from the line out with Miller plunging in the centres as he was last week.
Jones in bother. Tineman the tackler. Brian Moore. He's counted very well indeed. Sol charges ahead. Halfway line. Mike Teague. The Lions on the rampage here. Andrew. Low trajectory kick. 15 out from the Australian goal line. Copybook stuff there from the British Lions.
Again, the man who made it all was Dean Richards. Robert Jones was in trouble and he came back and he mauled the ball off him, slipped to Moore, and that started that forward roll.
Australia attempting to pick the pace of the game up, but have actually tended to move a little bit too wide. The Lions have come back, plunged up through the middle, now into the 22, looking very dangerous.
Line-out ball's been untidy for Far Jones. 3 scarlet jumpers there to drive him back. And Australia will be lucky to deliver here. In fact, they've lost it. Andrew now to Hastings. Big Scott Hastings, 13.5 stone. Referee says play on. Jones, well and truly caught by the Australian defence. Can he slip it back? No.
It is truly a sad commentary that the Lions look all at sea at using the ball in their backs. When there's a try on, they just seek back towards the tight place. Scott Hastings, for the second time, going back just metres out from the line.
Well, a decision there that puzzled the Australians. They drove Jones back, but the British Lions getting the scrum feed. Perhaps the referee was playing advantage. 12 minutes elapsed. Second half, Australia leading 9-6.
I suggest Richards will be a very important part of this next move here.
Teague too. Slipped it back to Calder, and the referee says it was slipped forward.
It sure was. Beautiful move that time. Richards to Teague coming into the gap. But he let that ball go to Calder, who was already in front of him. And I would say offside penalty, not offside unintentionally.
Ruxton Mauls 6-1 second half to the Lions. So they've found the right formula with their pack. Australian 8 has been struggling in this game. Martin on his left foot. And taking play to the 22-metre line.
Magnificent kick by Martin. They're really under pressure. The Australian pack going backwards. Good clearance by Far Jones, but Martin a perfect kick out to the 22.
The chant of gold from this 25,000 crowd here at Ballymore for the second test. And it really is a gorgeous day. Richards at the back, not holding on. And the referee telling Michael Liner, I can see a knock on. There's no need to tell me.
The back row game is so dependent on the performance of the tight five. You see last week Australia's back row were really on top. This week you hardly ever see him except for some tremendous covering by Steve Chinaman.
That kick by Liner has gained nearly 40 metres. It was a godsend for the Australian forwards.
Pull your head up out of a scrum defending, and you've been there for a while. You see one of those spiralling away. Really is that little lift that you need to keep going. But Australia haven't been doing well in the line-outs unless they push the ball completely free to straight to Far Jones. Their sweeping and their tidying up has left a little to be desired.
Wade Dooley on the drive. Support play of Sol, again a feature. And finally Judge kick takes play to within 26 metres of the Australian goal line. Australia ahead by 9 points to 6, 15 minutes gone, second half.
This Lions line-out has been tremendous today, and that's certainly up until the first test. Their control, their sweeping, they're able to make that 5 or 10 metres from every line-out that they win the ball from. Australia needs to put people on the deck.
Dean Richards, unopposed. He's had a magnificent game this afternoon. Hastings, well, Gus got badly wants the ball. He came as a decoy, and Australia try to ruck it back. And Richards gets up very gingerly after winning that ball.
Well, again, we see the disorganisation in the Lions' backs, but Australia not aware of where the ball is when it goes to ground. In a couple of occasions, the ball down, the Lions have been able to slip in behind and put it away.
As our New Zealand viewers would appreciate, that body height is so important. Australia's body height's been too high.
Tight head here for the Lions. This is Hastings. They were without their number 8. Very good strike there by the hooker. And Ian Evans somehow got the ball away there onto the boot into touch. He played for Llanelli in 1984 as a 20-year-old against the Grand Slam Wallabies. And Llanelli won that day. So the referee spotting a knock on there by one of the Reds. Tyman delivers. Long cut out here to Martin. Here's Lloyd Walker looping. Clever dummy and Williams in space. Williams chases hard, but the ball finding touch inside the 22. Well, very good skills there from Lloyd Walker, who supported.
Well, one of the great skills of a centre is to be able to, once he's passed the ball, not to live any more than a metre off it. Lloyd Walker was able to distribute the ball and get around in that perfect position, throw the dummy and duck the ball in behind to Williams. It's that enthusiasm and eagerness the Australian team must call on now to really get these tries.
Cutler, two-handed this time, a vital line out, and offside play there by Ackford, number 4. He came round on the wrong side, jumping for that ball. And Cutler was going to win it anyway. He said, enough of this pussyfooting around.
The game finally poised. Look at Ackford coming through that line out. That he was in the method of jumping for the ball, but he can't play at it. He certainly can't put his arm down and pick it up. That's what he's being penalised for.
So both goal kickers have missed 2 shots today. Liner has 2 out of 4. He's kicked 1 conversion and a penalty. But Liner has the chance now to put Australia back out to that 6-point cushion. The Lions forwards have held sway, but their use of the ball by the backs has been disappointing. Metres in, exactly. 21 metres out. I think he's got it. He sure has. Liner's second penalty. 12 points to 6.
Bob Dwyer usually fairly controlled, trying to urge his team on from the crowd. I mean, there's no way that they would hear what he's saying, but that's the feeling there within the team. They see a win in the series against the Lions at their doorstep. They want to take it.
If the Australians can hold as Cutler swept to Lawton, and Tommy Lawton put his head down like a wild boar. Liner kick, miscued. 27 metres out. So the Lions down on the scoreboard, but still 21 minutes remaining.
The Lions still looking very dangerous, Gordon. This tight five is really driving through the middle, and if this back row can win a bit more ball and roll it around, Australia can find themselves in big problems.
Goulet tap back to Far Jones. Liner getting angle on that one. Over Underwood's head. Sensational kick again.
That is the class of probably the world's best 5'8". He was there, hardly in any room to move at all, but he was able to place the ball another 35 metres downfield.
Liner at his best when he plays instinctively, and he's done exactly that in these two test matches. Wade Dooley went high. He's the man who got it. It's 5 short of halfway. The line's rolling here. Teague holding off. There's a big heave from the Australian pack, and the ball spews out. Now it's Walker. Lloyd Walker finds an inroad. Back it goes to Miller. Australia try and set it up here. Far Jones has it. Numbers here for Australia. Maguire. Maguire does well. Still going to Martin and Campese. Little shuffle. He lost it backwards. Miller's there. 25 metres out. Australia getting a surge on here, but Ackford wins the ball. Well, desperate mauling there by Paul Ackford has saved a very dangerous situation for the Lions.
Being able to step up that urgency now is a critical time for Australia. 20 minutes gone, 20 to go. They're 6 points in front. This is the time to really make the Lions feel the pressure. They have no options in their backs, the Lions, unfortunately. Their forwards are playing superbly, but their backs are not giving them any help at all.
Ackford's tap loose to Jones. Tyneman and Goulet came through, and Australia has the ruck ball. The Lions are onside. Liner's field goal. And he's pushed it wide. The idea was right. The execution was wrong.
That'd have been the nail, Gary Pearce.
Yes, it would have. If you got it, the crowd will go crazy. If not, it's bad luck. But Australia need more ball in the hand. When the ball's in the hand, the Lions are in trouble. When they haven't got it, they can't score the tries. It's that simple. Pressure by keeping the ball away from the Lions is the only way Australia must consolidate this match.
Tyneman, two-hander. He was knocked, though, and lost it. The Lions counter. Underwood. Back to Andrew. Now they have the numbers. Guscott. Exciting run of this man. Guscott accelerates. He's through the gap. This could be a great Lions try. Outside is Evans, and a marvellous tackle by Williams. Australia gets out of danger and trouble as Far Jones clears.
Well, there, as we say it, they make the breakout on the far side, still not knowing exactly what to do with the ball when they get it. Inside to Hastings, he's trying to get it wide, but that extra pace of Williams and Campese, and then a great captain's knock from Nick Far Jones gets them out of trouble.
Well, there's a lesson to be learnt for the Lions, particularly from a broken play situation like that. They do have some devastating runners out wide, and Guscott there really exploded into space, and the try almost resulted.
Australia can also learn from that piece of play. All the support was in depth from behind. All the breaks Australia has made to date has been trying to loop pass over the top to try and beat people. Last week it was Australia coming in from behind, supporting each other. They must come in deeper than what they are. They're too shallow.
Far Jones, the man who intercepted that pass from Underwood. But was that the killing burst that the Lions have been looking for? They're only 5 metres out, and the ball's been lost ahead by one of their forwards. And Martin's left foot kick to the 10-metre line. No one really following for Australia. Evans has gone straight up. That takes the pressure off Australia. But Richards snatches the ball. Lovely pilfering from him. Teague. Richards to Jones and Andrew. Long cut out now for Hastings. Now it's Underwood. Underwood and Williams. Underwood for the line. Hastings is there. The ball lost forward.
Look at that, the first time they've given this man a go on tour. Rory Underwood, he has the capacity to turn a game around. He got the ball firstly with a bit of room to move. Though Williams is fast, Underwood was strong. He tried to lay it back, it went forward.
Australia must call on offensive tackles. They must go forward and put the Lions down. The defensive tackle is giving the Lions too much momentum.
The Australians must have their front row and second row feet in the field of play. And that's a very good scrum. Teague was offside. And the referee, what's he doing? He's ruling a penalty. No try. The ball was still held by the number 8.
Well, Teague cannot break off there. He is offside immediately. This penalty should be to Australia. There is no reason to give a penalty to the Lions. Teague was so obvious in that picture there. The Lions don't even know why the penalty's been given to them. There was no collapsing. There was no binding error. It was Teague clearly offside. The ball hadn't got out from the Australian feet.
I think the referee's confused because he said to Teague, you were offside, but the penalty's gone to the Lions. This is Finlay Calder. Jones now. Can the Lions put it together? Evans is out wide. Campisi's in front. Martin lends support. Comes out for Lloyd Walker. And Lloyd Walker, who underplays his hand so well, has been in the vanguard of Australia's defence and attack.
Some great play here as the ball goes wide. But the defence is there. Plenty of yellow jumpers there as all the backs get in there. You see that Maguire's gone low. Lloyd Walker loops around the edge and just tucks the ball around the edge.
15 minutes to go. Richards at the back, lost a head by Sol, but the referee has spotted some Australian obstruction. Far Jones has booted the ball 40 metres downfield. And a chance now for Gavin Hastings to add a further 3, or will it be Rob Andrew?
Well, he said the Australian player came through the line out, was in an offside position and is thus unable to play the ball. He is right. Depends on whether Cutler jumped for the ball, and he didn't. He steps across to the Lions side and pads the ball back. He's definitely offside.
But then again, once the ball is deflected from the line out is over. Very dicey. The question is whether Steve Cutler really was on the other side of the line out when the ball was deflected.
So Rob Andrew now. His first shot at goal. He's a real sharpshooter. Flags are up. 12 points to 9. It's been a titanic struggle here at Ballymore. And Andrew manages a little smile there to one of his teammates. The Lions have a great chance to keep this series alive.
The Lions here will be looking for Teague and Richards to really win this game for them, as they've done up the first 70 minutes of this game. It's quite important that Australia put those players on the ground.
Well, the Lions know if they can score a try, they'll be in front.
Territory, it's all about territory. 15 minutes to go. Australia must contain the Lions in their own half. They've got to do it, and they must get better ball from the line out. Control, driving in close to the lines, keeping that ball off the lines.
Cutler at the back to Far Jones. He's gone over the advantage line. This is Walker. He's managed to beat that first tackle, but the Lions get the drive on here. Ruck back. The Lions are fringing. Referee's waiting for advantage and gives the penalty to Australia. They weren't bound. And clearly offside. So I suppose you can or understand the over-anxiousness and the enthusiasm of the Lions forwards. They're desperate at the moment, but that really was one that could cost them dearly.
Well, it's unfortunate in that situation that they'd gone 90% of the way there by driving through the middle and had Australia going backwards. This is just that last 10% that they didn't get right, and they were the fringes around the edge.
At least I was happy to see the penalty go to the right way that time. Went the wrong way close to Australia's line.
So Michael Liner, who's averaging 13 points in his 32 test matches, has a chance to take his tally to 11. Crowd are happy, but it hit the upright. Who wants it? It's picked up by Hastings. Now it's Campese. Straight into Evans. He's lacking support. Australian forward slow to get there. And flag up on the far side.
I think the Lions always knew that David Campese was going to try and run that ball back against them.
Cutler.
Pushed out of the line out.
Now it's Walker. Maguire to Martin. And Australia back down to the 22.
Intelligent play there by the Australian backs. The ball came wide. Martin in the line. He saw he might have had the extra man, but he popped the ball in behind to ensure the pressure stays on the lines of the 22.
Back to this critical line-out area.
Australia has come back in the line-outs in the second half. They lead overall now by 19 to 16 in that area. Ackford lost a head there, but they've slipped it back. And Andrew, complementing the good work by the forwards, takes it to within 3 metres of halfway.
This is where the Lions will be looking for this counter-attacking ability of Rob Andrew. He's in the team to try and open the options up for the Lions. He'll be relying on these 4 men in this line-out to pop the ball back and make the ball alive to the rest of his backs.
Cutler pushed out of the line-out again.
Timon setting up well. Liner with the Gary Owen coming down on the 22. Hastings there. Oh, bad mistake. Miller. Now Australia have their opportunity. Miller sets up. And a knock on by Australia.
Tremendous drive here by Australia. Hastings not gathering the ball in. Miller doing well. Lays the ball back.
Jones to Andrew. And again, the England 5/8 pumping that touchline successfully about 18 metres from the halfway line.
Unfortunate it wasn't Australia's put in there. It was Hastings that actually knocked the ball on first on from the catch. But now Australia, with this opportunity of the throw into the line out, can really put this pressure on and put this game beyond doubt.
Australia by 3 points, 12 to 9. Far Jones does well. Walker again to Miller. Miller steps through. That's Dan Crowley, wrapped up by Richards. And a ferocious tackle from the big man. But Australia looking to slip it back. And Richards has helped set up the ball here for the Lions. They have numbers here. Hastings, Underwood's outside and he wants it desperately. Underwood now. Scott Hastings in support. It was okay, the pass. It looks suspicious. Scott Hastings and Campese. Jones close to the line here. And Martin runs into touch. So the British Lions, 8 minutes to go, have the chance to hit the lead for the first time in this second test.
The great trust by the Lions that time, working in support of each other, desperate to keep the ball in, carried the ball deep. Campese just hanging off until he could nail Hastings. Great opportunity now here with their thrust from the line out.
Australia clinging to a 12-9 lead, and Goulet comes out for Australia. But he lost the ball. Andrew, Guscott, back it goes to Underwood. The Lions look to set it up. And the referee has given the penalty Australia's way. It looks as though there was something on the ground, and gee, that was desperately required by the Australians.
Great defence.
Ball's come across here. Guscott's taken the ball up and he slips it back inside to Underwood, who tries the crash. Liner takes him to the ground, but as the Australian players come in, it's Calder Doesn't release the ball.
Underwood, I think he's called as tackled and not releasing.
Well, that was a critical mistake by England's most capped wing, Rory Underwood.
Every Australian player must have in his mind offensive tackling. They must go forward and put the Lions down. This running next to players and watching them isn't on. And that's what's putting the Lions back in the game.
Cutler's standing at halfback here for Australia. More on the loose ball. So the ball's gone to ground. We'll have the scrum. Or smothering that one. So just 7.5 minutes to go. The fate of the Lions tour in the balance at the moment.
The Lions will open themselves up here. They will be vulnerable because they'll be looking for their backs to try and get in that ball.
Well, passing off the ground there by Robert Jones. He got away with it after he was tackled by Nick Farr-Jones.
He was tackled and then played the ball on the ground. He cannot have further to do with the ball until he gets back to his feet. Should have been a penalty, Australia.
Well, Australia will be looking here for Michael Liner's experience at this ground and know every bump in it.
Hastings in perfect position. He was waiting for the kick. And now he delivers. And it's gone to the wrong man as far as the Lions are concerned, Michael Liner. Look at the angle on this kick. And look at the result. Nearly down to the 10-metre line in British Lions territory. Another commanding performance by Michael Liner here this afternoon. He's broken the Lions' hearts.
The Lions have tried hard through their forwards, but they haven't had the option of that back all day. They've closed them out and haven't given them that spark to go forward.
Farr-Jones well to Liner. Now on his left foot. That one has gone too far. So the Lions are still breathing. 5 minutes remaining.
Michael Liner really trying to put the Lions back on the defensive there. Possession is so important here to both sides. The game can go any way.
Ackford, a tower of strength at the front of the Lions line out this afternoon. His England teammate Teague in support. Underwood chases hard. Martin there. Martin on his chest. And happy to find the touchline.
What a courageous catch by Martin. This guy has really got it. He's up there high all the time. He's the man who makes the hit tackles. The ball goes up. Martin says it's my ball and nobody else's. Up he goes high, like an Aussie rules player.
Now it's Andrew Hastings. Back into trouble. Calder, his captain from Scotland, mauls it back to Teague and Sol. Now they roll it through Moore. This is Teague. Away to Jones. Underwood's outside. Underwood's inside. Goulet the tackler. Great tackle it was too. Moore sets up. Finley Calder. Away to Andrew. Can they get it wide here? Long cut out. The pass is okay. Hastings. Hastings is there. And the referee says yes. The Lions have been threatening to do it, and they've finally done it.
We can see the ball's gone wide here. Jones has gone as far. Jones comes across and tries to wrap him up. Intelligent play. Change the angle. Get over the advantage line. Scott Goulet takes the high tackle there onto Underwood. The ball comes back. Look at that commitment by the Lions as the ball goes in. Finley Calder over the top. The Lions for once are starting to run straight. Ball comes out wide, and this man here, Hastings, really the big danger man in this Lions team, goes over for a try.
What a morale-boosting, inspirational effort there from the big fullback. And now Andrew. It's close, but not good enough. So 1 point the difference. 13 points to 12.
Well, this really had to come. The Lions, tight five, and the back row were really mounting pressure. And it was really the skill of Hastings to be able to straighten that play up, confirm that pressure. A great try.
2.5 minutes remaining. The Lions won't be looking to give any penalties away now in their half. But it's been a marvellous comeback by this touring team. They've hit the lead for the first time with less than 5 minutes remaining. Campese not holding on, and the referee correctly says knock forward. So 1.5 minutes to go.
Rob Andrew will be looking for touch here to try and slow the pace of the game up. Australia will be sniffing and ferreting for every little bit of loose ball they can get hold of.
Gahan Evans follows. Campese underneath. And he's knocked on again. Calder! Look at the men out wide here if they can slip it. Jones there. Australia in desperate straits here. The Lions threatening to score again. Guscott. He follows. Guscott! Yes! Jeremy Guscott. He scored 3 tries in his first test against Romania. And now in his first international for the British Lions has sealed the match. The Bath bricklayer has done it for the Lions, and the kick to come will put them out of sight.
Well, it's a pressure game here. The ball is set up there as he chips the ball through. Great commitment by Guscott, and over he goes. But it really was the setup here. The pressure was on Campese. He didn't handle it. The ball went to ground. Calder came and pushed it, and the forwards got hold of it. But it's Guscott catching the Australian backs up too far, popping it in behind. Great try.
Andrews adds the extras, and the Lions are home. Well, you can only say, well done, British Lions, because they've been behind the 8 ball all day on the scoreboard, and they finished with great character to hit the lead, and now have it by 7.
The Lions have been able today to control the pace of the game, and here they've picked it up, that 30% up, and that's what did it. It caught Australia watching rather than doing things.
So it's all down to the Sydney Football Stadium, and Dean Richards, who must have been close to the best player on the field this afternoon, delivering back, and it will be a very happy British Lions tour party. "10 metres from halfway." The Australian forwards just haven't had that sense of urgency this afternoon. Walker spots the gap. But as a consequence, the Australian backs have seen only a starvation diet of possession.
As this man gets up off the ground, Richards has had a bit of tower of strength at the back of the scrum today. Combined with Teague, it's been magnificent play in the back row.
Scrum's gone down. Jones to Martin. Time's up on the scoreboard. Martin follows, but Jones in the way. Well, there's about 1 minute remaining, and Roger Utley and Ian McGeechan, they've come in for plenty of criticism from the British press, and as well they might smile.
Well, as you can see from Martin's eye there's going to be quite a bit of stitching thread used after this game. Australia has really taken a battering here. Been taking it round the years. They've been a very, very sore lot. Lions have put it to them, but finished on top using the skills.
Dooley and Sol combining. Jones, the Welsh halfback, kicking again for his teammate Evans. And now the Lions can do no wrong. Frustration for the Australian camp. It's going to be a very intense week. The Lions will be going down to the Gold Coast. No match this week leading up to the 3rd and deciding test. Liner cut out here for Maguire and Martin. Campese and Williams. Underwood's not going to let him go. Moore comes into tackle number 2.
See here, you can see the Lions in there. They've been able to isolate Williams and try and get the ball. They get at his fingers, in his hands, trying to get the ball back.
And there it is. A jubilant British Lions side has squared the series, taking this second international by 19 points to 12.